So sketching out the layout of the accent wall, I ended up not going with this layout. As you could see, or you will end up seeing in the video, that I changed out the layout multiple times. Eventually we ended up getting a good layout to go with, but it was a lot of change. So right now I'm kind of like using my laser level to level out the right side of the accent. I'm using my 16 gauge nailer, Ryobi 16 gauge nailer, to nail it in. That's what I have, so that's what I'm using. So as you can see, we have the level nice and stretch. The first right hand side of the accent nice and straight. If you look closely, you will see a masking tape. So I started my layout on the wall using a masking tape. Changed it out maybe 3 times. Then I decided this is long. This is taking way too long. So I went to the paper to draw it out. I drew it like 3 times or 4 times. Then when I started installing it, I started finding out that my lumber wasn't enough, or it didn't really line up properly. So I ended up just going with a layout that was just off my head. I literally just made it work. So you will find out eventually at the end of the video. So I'm using a circular saw to make my cuts. Now installing the left hand side of the accent wall, making sure it is nice and straight. I used a drill to kind of find out where the stud was. This is not drywall on the wall, so it's a little difficult to find out where the stud is. So I used my drill to kind of like find out where studs are. So over here, I am taking a measurement of the right and left side of the accent wall to get the center. Now, at this moment, I realized that I needed to change the layout again. So a lot of thinking started going, I think I realized that I didn't have enough lumber to design the pattern that I drew. So so now I figured out, oh, okay, I have an idea. So let's go with that idea and just keep going. Which which sort of turned out really good. I believe I think I like the new pattern a lot better. It's a little bit unpredictable, so and it has a flow, and the flow kind of directs you towards the main room. So when you look at it, you are kind of like inclined to keep walking down the main room. So I don't know. That's how I felt whenever I look at the design. So uh, just let me know what you think. Yeah. So this is where a miter saw will really be useful here. But I do not have one, so I am using a circular saw to cut a 45. Well, I'm using my carpenter square to kind of draw it out and cut it with my circular saw. It worked out pretty good. I ended up having to use a lot of caulk or wood fill on some of the gaps, but I think it turned out pretty well. Something I like about this design is, or this layout is, pretty much it's really easy. I'm not doing a lot of crazy cuts. Um, None of them goes across the switches or the outlets, so which is really good. I don't have to cut out areas to go around the switches. So overall, very easy, relatively, and I like it. So that's it basically. Turned out really well. It's the design just makes it the layout makes it look like it was intentionally not supposed to line line up. You know, so after painting, then the beauty of this beast will come out. So right now I'm just prepping to paint. My camera died during the first coat of paint, so I believe I won't show majority of the paint, but Basically, I used a roller on some part. Then majority of the paint I used a brush to paint it. So I'm basically taping out my baseboard, and I think I also taped out the sides and the top just so I could paint away. I'm wearing that overall because I was sanding. Earlier on that day, I was sanding the room, sandpaper, sanding drywall. So I just didn't want to be covered in a lot of drywall dust. So I wore that. I'm not trying to be fancy or anything like that. That was just what happened. All right, so here's the accent wall. Accent wall. Here we go. It came out better than I was thinking, to be honest. Came out pretty well, given the amount of time and cost. I believe the woods, I think I bought it for maybe less than $10. It was 70% off in Home Depot. Got it. The paint, it was a leftover paint. The color kind of worked out. I was gonna paint a black color, but I have this paint laying around, so I decided to use it. Yeah.